think they've got over the top with the worst of it. I think they're starting to conquer it. And if we look at a wonderful cub that will be known henceforth by this name, Flip Flop, there you can see he's got... He has scratched his ear so much that I think the cartilage is broken, and I think that it'll probably not recover. But you can see that he is not, or she, sorry, it's a lioness, she is not scratching herself at all anymore. There are one or two that are still having a little bit of a scratch and a bite here and there. But remember, about a week ago, when we found them not far from here, well, they haven't been far from here for about 2 years now, but just down through the drainage, there's a little pan, and we saw the wood sandpiper. They were sitting, crushing against trees. They were scratching and biting, and they were having a horrible time. There's not one cub here right now that is, well, they're biting their mothers, but they're not scratching at all. And I think that means that they have beaten this mange. So maybe I'm speaking too soon, but let's hope that that is the case, and that their fur and the ear of little Flip Flop starts to recover. Isn't that good news? And for those of you who are wondering who gave that lioness the stupid name that is Flip Flop, and the fact that henceforth, despite its obvious magnificence as one of the great cats of Africa, it will forever be known by the ridiculous name of Flip Flop, we have Byron to thank. He wanted me to remind you that it was he who came up with the name. So there I have reminded you. That is Byron's fault. Oh, that's a wonderful shot of the foot there, David. Well done. Good foot shot. Possibly the best I've seen. But even little Flip Flop, who looked like the worst affected by the mange, is not scratching right now. Oh, sweet. Look at her. That's so sweet. And she has got mange on her face, but she's not scratching. And she's sleeping quite peacefully. I think this is brilliant news. And then and there's the great attempt to suckle from a mother who's getting very sick of having to produce milk at this stage. James, you wondering if I think the soil holds the spores of mange. James, spores, you mean a bit like anthrax? No, anthrax is a fungus, and that's why it has spores, and that's why they sit in the ground. Mange is caused by mites, and mites are little arachnids, if I'm not much mistaken, minuscule microscopic mites, or arachnids that get into the skin. And so no, they're definitely not, they don't breed by means of spores. Their eggs, I suppose, yes indeed, their eggs could be dormant in the soil perhaps, and perhaps they only come out when it's dry, much the same as anthrax does. So that's possible. Affirmative. I'm just answering on the game drive. Somebody's trying to get into the sighting. So that's my answer there. Yeah, why not? The eggs may well get stuck in the soil. It certainly would be a good explanation for why it is that mange has come out coincidentally, or perhaps not so coincidentally, during the height of a very dry year. There's plenty of ticks in that ear, aren't there? He's going to need some oxpecker attention. But again, I think even less mange than there was. There's a little bit of scratching going on. So let's just keep watching and see if the others start as well. I mean, that lion's basically eating its heel off, so still itchy. But I think you'll all agree with me that there's definitely much less of the scratching than there has been. Michael, you're interested in which one of the litters, Flip-Flop, comes from, you say, is she one of the teddy cubs? Yes, I think she is. I think she is a teddy cub. There she is. Unless she's one of the others. No, I'm pretty sure she's a teddy. Yeah, I think she's a teddy. Oh, look. That's very sweet. I've just heard something on the radio, everybody. That's why I'm laughing while we look at that. And I shall share it with you because, well, you know, you can keep a secret. One of the rangers who should remain nameless just asked another ranger who shall also remain nameless whether or not he'd brought his guests to the lions, to which he replied in a language called Fanagalore, which is not a language at all, but anyway, it's another time for another discussion for another time. He said, no, I didn't take them to the lions because they're calling the animals. They think the animals are dogs, so he's going to take them for a drink instead. He's not going to show them the lions. Oh, that's a lesson to everybody. If you come out here, of course, obviously, being Wild Earth viewers, you would never think to click your fingers or whistle at animals so that they looked at your camera. I have to admit I have done it once or twice myself, but it is very non-you. Everyone lying on their backs at the moment, playing with sticks, resting their long rapier claws in the bark, and swatting at each other. I'm glad they're just starting to get active and the sun has just gone down, sort of. So we'll see if they get up and do anything useful this evening. I wouldn't eat that ear. I mean, if they're going to get mange, that's where you're going to get it from. Kat, you've noticed that the cubs here are darker than the mothers. They are. And you say, well, they get lighter as they get older? Yes, they definitely will. But if you look at the flanks of the one on her back there, Dave, if you don't mind, the one who's just about to sit up. No, the adult. There we go. Those flanks are pretty much the same color. And so I think there is a certain amount of variation. But certainly they are a little bit darker, more mustard colored, I suppose, than the rest of the adults are. There's an elephant somewhere in this bush. I can hear 3 or 4 of them actually moving. And every so often you'll hear a branch breaking. And that's what that is. Does everyone agree with me that there's much less scratching going on? Or has this happened before where we've come to the site and although we know that they are riddled with the disease, they haven't been scratching? Maybe also the moisture in the air has meant that A, they haven't been reinfected, and B, they